Thank you, everyone, and for coming. Welcome to the Carbys 2020. My name is Jason Grillo. I'm the event director for AirMiners. It's wonderful to see so many people in our AirMiners community here today. Wanted to talk through a couple things before I turn the meeting over to the main part of our awards presentation today. Basically, the nominees are in, judges found the finalists, and you all voted for the award winners of the Carbys, our first ever. So we're here today to celebrate and looking forward to sharing in the values and recognizing the standouts from our community in carbon removal. So with that, a couple other housekeeping points. First, today is going to be a carbon negative event in that enough of you have contributed a voluntary donation or voluntary ticket rather, to provide for carbon removal for the event. On that note, the AirMiners conference.airminers.org website now has an FAQ about exactly how carbon negative credits are achieved for AirMiners events. So go to conference.airminers.org, look at the FAQ, detailed explanation about how we get to carbon negative for each event. Finally, the conclusion of our program will see us start our networking session in a breakout room as we typically do. So stick around to the end and we will have networking so we can get to know one another, not just know of each other. So with that, I'm going to turn the stage over to Tito Jankowski. Tito.
Can we clap now?
Yes.
Welcome to the Carbys, everybody. This is the Oscars for AirMiners, and it's been a great past couple of weeks putting this all together. Really excited to share what we have for you today. So welcome to the Carbys. You know, the reason that we created the Carbys was we wanted to recognize the best of our peers, the best of all the stuff that you're seeing in your inbox, in your video chat, in your Slack channel, all that stuff that you're hearing about privately. We wanted to figure out how do we help showcase more of that from the AirMiners community, from the carbon removal industry, share the stuff that we see behind the scenes all the time, and let other people see more of it. Part of that is it's about recognizing, it's celebrating the things that have happened, but there's also kind of a more important idea, which is how do we celebrate those things so that others can do the same, or to kind of remix it and make it their own. You know, it comes back to this idea that with the Carbys, we want to celebrate individual actions, daily actions, because those are the things that are going to get us the results to pull carbon from the air. Like you, so many of us have you know, product launches, fundraising, sales, those types of metrics, and those things are important. Those things, you know, we all have those. But those kind of stars, those North Stars, they can be hard to navigate. Something that you celebrate once a year or once every couple months, or every multiple years. We wanted to showcase daily actions, individual actions, because those things are ultimately what we can control, and those are what are going to get us the results that we want in terms of carbon removal. So today, I'm really thrilled. We have 10 categories of Carby awards. The first year that we're doing it, we have Catalyzer, Enabler, Audacity, Environmental Justice, Connector, Resilience, Momentum, Moderator, Market Maker, and Elevation awards. And these are each highlighting, for the most part, individual actions, but we also have some recognition for programs and organizations with the Elevation and Market Maker awards. Just to touch quickly on the process, in case you weren't there for all of it, we started a few weeks ago with nominations. Anyone from around the universe can nominate somebody for a Carby. So it's open to anybody. We had over 200 nominations come in that were submitted, covering all of these different awards. So we put together a diverse panel of judges who reviewed these nominations. And on the topic of nominations, I wanted to bring up that we want to continue to emphasize that we really need and we really want to create a diverse community of backgrounds. We want to unlock gender equality, racial equality, and inclusion in the carbon removal community, but also as voices in our own AirMiners leadership. That means being engaged in decision making and creating this future that we want. So the judges reviewed these 200 plus nominations. They selected 3 finalists for each of the 10 awards, and then we took those finalists and turned them over to the AirMiners community in the form of a ballot that was emailed out, and everybody got to vote. The voting closed yesterday at noon, and so the reason you're here today is to hear about the finalists and hear about the winners for the 2020 Carby Awards. So let's get to it. One last thing to mention is the AirMiners hats. If you go to hats.airminers.org, you can check out AirMiners hats. Some people already have. I'm seeing some hats in the audience here. People are getting the hats. If you want your own, check out hats.airminers.org. So feel free to have your video on. And like Jason said, and I think that was Christina. Yes, like unmute and applause whenever you feel like it. But really, when they're clapping for the winners is especially great. And if you can just unmute yourself afterwards, so we don't hear you chewing or whatever. With that, on this topic of celebrating and recognizing the values of the carbon removal community, in order to highlight those actions, but also to help spark and create more actions, I wanted to invite our keynote speaker up, Dr. Jen Wilcox, who's going to be talking about great minds in the carbon removal industry. Dr. Jennifer Wilcox is the Presidential Distinguished Professor of Chemical Engineering and Energy Policy at the University of Pennsylvania, and she is also the recipient of the 2019 Max Planck Sabbatical Award. You probably recognize her through the AirMiners community from our deep dive on direct air capture that she hosted earlier this year. You can check that out on YouTube if you want to catch the recap. And without further ado, take it away, Dr. Wilcox.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here in this group. I'm really excited to just present for a few minutes on some of my thoughts associated with carbon dioxide removal. And a big part of what I've been thinking about recently is how are we going to get to carbon dioxide removal on the gigaton scale by mid-century, like we really need to in order to meet climate goals. And a part of that is really going to be increasing the human capital, the people that are actually going to get it done and get the job done. And one of the things I see that's very valuable about the AirMiners community is just bringing all of this group together. And the ecosystem is broad in terms of carbon removal across all different types of sectors and skill sets. And it's really powerful. And I have this very short presentation, and it's really looking at the human capital and developing the human capital and the great minds and the great thinkers that it's going to take in order to get to the deployment required to meet climate goals. So just to offer some few thoughts that I have on this topic, in terms of meeting climate goals with carbon dioxide removal as part of the portfolio. And so we need to recognize that first and foremost, we need to deep decarbonize. We need to avoid the emissions of CO2 in the first place. And then we need to recognize too, that the role of carbon dioxide removal is really there to offset the sectors that are hard to abate. So some of those sectors include the transportation sector, agricultural sector, and even some of the industries that are difficult to avoid the CO2 emissions from. And it doesn't mean that we need to do complete 100% decarbonization before we start deploying CDR at scale. Instead, what it means is that we need to do both at the same time, collectively. But we also need to recognize that to do these things and do them at the scale that's required to meet climate goals requires limited resources today. And those limited resources include land, water, low carbon energy, and in some cases, biomass waste. And so we need to recognize, because those resources that are required to do this job are limited, they need to be prioritized. And displacing fossil and decarbonization and avoiding carbon emissions typically is cheaper and easier than taking it back out of the atmosphere once it becomes very, very dilute. And so this is just a way that we need to be thinking about strategies and approaches. We do not want to see these two approaches that are both required to meet climate goals as competing against one another. We really want to see them working together. And so to do this in this very thoughtful way is going to require really great minds, just like you have gathered together in this AirMiners group. And it's going to take significant human capital from all sectors, science, engineering, policy, technology, in order to get the deployment required to meet climate goals. So helping and framing kind of how we talk about this, the distinction between reductions versus removals. A group of about 40 of us got together over the last 2 and 3 years to develop a primer document on carbon dioxide removal. And this will be out in about a week and a half. And we'll be getting online, it'll be online initially, and online we'll be asking for pre-orders for the hard copies, which will be available in the new year. And you see below on the slide all of the private foundations that have supported this work. We're really excited, and we really are hoping that this document will be used as a tool to help facilitate the learning and the understanding of the next generation and the human capital that's really going to be required to carry out this scale and this challenge. Finally, I'd like to also put a plug in on, if you haven't heard, there's a journal on negative emissions that we launched last year. And you can see here, this is the open access journal Frontiers. And then we have a range of research topics that might interest you. And so if you're doing work in this space and research in this space, we urge you to submit your work so that everybody can learn from the efforts that you have invested in this space. There's in particular a topic that you might be interested in if you haven't heard of this yet, and it's called Scaling Up Negative Emissions, the Power of Leveraging Policy, Philanthropy, Purchasing, and Investment. And Stripe has been kind enough to cover all of the open access fees for this submission. It's perspective articles only. And so if you're a new technology or developing an idea and you want to put your perspective out there, we would welcome it. And so it's just an outlet for us to share the knowledge that we're gaining in this space. And so I'll end there and really just want to thank you to the AirMiners community for creating this group of great minds and this network that exists and will continue to play a role in the scale up of carbon dioxide removal in helping to meet our climate goals. But really just want to thank you for all of your efforts in this space, in the AirMiners community, for bringing all of us together. Thank you very much.
We're trying out that clapping feature. Thank you, Dr. Wilcox.
Dr. Wilcox, we love you.
We really love to me, just the passion for great minds really comes through. And to me, that's that goes to the heart of the Carbys. Is we didn't set out to create an award show. We set out to celebrate and create more great actions and great behaviors, and just the incredible stuff that we need to pull carbon from the air. So next up, I've got a little year in review to share with you. And so, if I think about, this time last year is kicking off January 1st, 2020, and just looking back, we have so many new people, new faces in the carbon removal community. And we're here today to celebrate those people. We also have new deals coming in and new funding coming in. On the startup side, Climeworks and Carbon Engineering have raised, among others, have raised hundreds of millions of dollars to improve technologies and solutions to pull carbon from the air. We also saw new commitments from big companies like Microsoft, Shopify, and Stripe, committing to removing carbon from the air, committing to taking a risk and helping to create a market for carbon removal. We also saw a focus on research and development, in particular the United States Department of Energy investing and creating grants for carbon removal solutions. And that's important because overall, I was just looking through Twitter, and in the past year, according to Dr. Robert Rode on Twitter, we had removed 11,000 tons of carbon this year, were removed using carbon removal technologies. Compared to the trillion tons of excess carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, we clearly have a lot of work to do, and there's an incredible opportunity in carbon removal. Earlier this year, we had Bill Gross give a talk on that, on the business opportunity, the economic opportunity in carbon removal. Thinking back to the beginning of the year within AirMiners, we've certainly seen a lot of new members, new people come in, many of whom are featured here today as finalists. We also have a number of new channels on the AirMiners Slack, so the discussion, the connections are way up. Earlier this year, we also introduced the AirMiners 101 guide, and that's an introduction to start to bring in new people from outside of the carbon removal community. How do we help boot up more people to be able to be a part of pulling carbon from the air? And I'm pleased to tell you that over 2,500 people have read that guide and started to learn about how to engage in carbon removal. We also had a number of events, over 10 events in the last year, starting with our giant May conference, kicking things off, really embracing the chaos of the outbreak of COVID-19 and saying, you know what, we're not going to delay our event. Let's actually invent one. That kind of rhymes. So we've covered, after the conference, we've covered direct air capture, oceans, environmental justice. Really pleased to see Forbes cover the AirMiners nuclear and carbon capture event. There was an article that went up on Slack General yesterday, including our panelists, Kirsty and Cannon, were interviewed for that article. As Jason mentioned earlier, we've also been, thanks to your support, we've been able to make every event carbon negative since we've started. That is thanks to your support, and also thanks to the companies who were happy to help us or let us dog food their own technology. So that's Climeworks and Carbon Cure. Overall, if you go to conference.airminers.org, there's a FAQ page, and you can see that overall we've been able to remove 7.12 tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and you can see a breakdown of the emissions from each event, and then the negative emissions from each event. And so the negative emissions outnumber the carbon emissions. Grant Faber was a huge part of that at the University of Michigan Global CO2 Initiative. He built an incredible calculator that helps us do that for every single event. And you can learn more about that at conference.airminers.org. Looking at the Carbys, we wanted to figure out how to amplify and create more of these incredible actions that are happening. We also this year launched the AirMiners Accelerator, kind of along the same lines. We're going to take what's happening organically in this community and in this industry. Now, how do we systematize it? How do we help make more of these things happen? And with the AirMiners Accelerator, we're focused on helping early stage ideas, early stage companies, so that we can take 1,000 shots on goal by December 31st, 2030, in order to pull meaningful amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So the Carbys is a part of this process. The Accelerator is a part of this process. Our ability to pull carbon from the air through our events, and through our discussion groups and channels, it's all part of what makes AirMiners great. Now we have a few cameos from friendly faces in the carbon removal community and beyond.
AirMiners, 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 AirMiners. Thank you for your work in the carbon community. Happy Carbys, everybody.
Hey AirMiners, I'm Heather Clancy, GreenBiz Editorial Director, wishing you all the best of luck in the Carby Awards. Let's show the world that removing carbon isn't just good for the planet, it's good for the economy.
Ken Alex here. I'm the Director of Project Climate at UC Berkeley. Used to be Jerry Brown's Climate Advisor at the Governor's Office. Just wanted to say congratulations to AirMiners and the Nobel Prize of Carbon Sequestration winners.
Hey AirMiners, it's Lynn Jeffrey from Institute for the Future. I just wanted to thank you and cheer you on for your creativity and your ingenuity. So inspiring to solve the biggest problem of our lifetimes.
Hello, AirMiners. This is Bill McDonough. We need you to move from the minor to the major leagues. So please get going. We need gigatons and we need them fast.
Have fun at the Carbys, AirMiners.
All right, thank you to everybody who put together those cameos. Let's get to the Carbys. We've got our first award up. To kick things off, this is the Catalyst Award. This is for somebody that's within the AirMiners community who's really worked to elevate those discussions and conversations that are happening, whether it's on AirMiners Slack or in our events, leading brainstorms, group discussions with others. The focus here is definitely within the AirMiners community. We've got other awards that are looking more broadly to the entire carbon removal community and beyond. But for this first one, we wanted to recognize that these people that have really helped bring together the discussions and conversations. Our first nominee for the Catalyst Award is Grant Faber. He's a research assistant at the Global CO2 Initiative at the University of Michigan. And Grant crafts weekly writing prompts on Slack. He's an enthusiastic thought partner who graciously makes time for all. Our next nominee is Jack Sullivan, the chairman and co-founder of Red Carbon. And Jack brings thought-provoking viewpoints to his discussions, and he engages everybody in really meaningful, thoughtful discourse, everybody from newcomers to regulars. And our next nominee for the Catalyst Award is Jeremy Epstein, a climate consultant and entrepreneurial catalyst. Jeremy created and runs the Slack Business Model Lab channel as a host for discussions, and they basically go through different business models in carbon removal or beyond, and they work to pull them apart to better understand and drive that thoughtful participation. So those are our three nominees for the Carby Award, the Catalyst Award. And without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce Grant Faber as the Catalyst Award winner for 2020. And I think we even have the pleasure of Grant here to say a quick hello.
Yeah, hi everybody.
Yay.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Way to go.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you everyone. I very much appreciate it. Thanks for voting for me. Take a second to recognize Jack. Thank you for all you do and add to the community, and Jeremy as well. The Business Model Lab is so cool, and I really recommend everyone here, if you haven't joined that sub channel, you just click that little plus sign in Slack and go ahead and do that. It's a really cool channel where we talk about a lot of cool stuff. So, yep, thanks everyone.
Congratulations again, Grant, and to our other finalists. It's a great pleasure to see so much catalyzing action happening in the AirMiners community. Next up, we have our next award is the Enabler Award. This is for the person who helped people who are curious about carbon removal get a start in the industry. As you know, carbon removal is a budding and blossoming industry, but that means there's plenty of room for new people to join in, to understand the basics of science and business in carbon removal. And we want to highlight people that were doing this either in groups or one-on-one. Maybe they're doing it privately, maybe they're doing it publicly. This is kind of like the Catalyzer Award that we just celebrated, but this one, we really wanted to look outside of the existing carbon removal community, because that growth function is really important. How do we treat and welcome new people that are joining? So for the 2020 Enabler Award, our three nominees. The first is Brad Warren, the Executive Director of the National Fisheries Conservation Center, recognized for his tireless commitment to brokering connections and education for coastal communities and tribal leaders, scientists, and funders through the importance of climate action. Our next nominee is John Sanchez, the founder of Carbon Removal Academy. And John built the Carbon Removal Academy from scratch to educate newcomers through online curriculum and discussion groups to learn about carbon removal. And finally, our next nominee is Sarah Sclarsic, a carbon removal researcher at MIT, who champions carbon removal research at MIT and connects students with community funding and research opportunities. So incredible nominees for this Enabler Award, helping to grow the carbon removal industry. And I'm pleased to announce that our 2020 recipient is John Sanchez.
Oh.
Congratulations, John.
There you go,
John. Carby Enabler Award winner
I knew you could
for
do it, John.
2020.
Good job.
I believe we have John here. Hey, John.
Hello. Yeah, no, thank you, everybody. I got my AirMiners hat on. I want to thank everyone, especially in AirMiners, who made me feel so welcome in my first few months in the carbon removal space this year. And also everyone who got involved with Carbon Removal Academy. As you can maybe see behind me, I'm hard at work building a new, much more engaging and innovation-focused carbon removal education platform. So stay tuned. Would love to get in touch. Thanks so much, guys.
Congratulations, John.
Congratulations, John. And again, just a new face in the carbon removal community, a new face in the AirMiners community. I believe it was June that I got my first email from John, and so really congratulations again to John and to all the finalists who are working to enable new people to join the carbon removal industry. Next up, I'm pleased to introduce our third Carby Award for 2020 in environmental justice. And we wanted to create this award to go to the person who really connected the carbon discussion to other communities in the world, to focus on environmental justice for the underserved, and especially voices that otherwise wouldn't be heard, and otherwise, look inwards to the AirMiners community as well to help us with our own awareness and biases. So I'm really pleased to share with you these three nominees. The first is Dr. Holly Jean Buck. She is an assistant professor of environment and sustainability at SUNY Buffalo, and she's highlighted for her prolific environmental social scientist role. Really, a prolific publisher, integrating environmental justice, gender equality, and human rights into the deployment of negative emissions technology. And she was a part of our environmental justice panel earlier this year that was hosted by Heidi Lim. Our next nominee is Joe James. Joe is the president of Agritech Producers, LLC, and he's worked from the Greening of Black America initiative to using biomass systems to improve community health. He's worked to integrate carbon removal and environmental justice together. Our third nominee for the Environmental Justice Carby Award for 2020 is Ugbaad Kosar, a senior policy advisor at Carbon 180, highlighted for empathetic and tireless advocacy for the incorporation of environmental justice into US policy as it relates to natural carbon removal solutions. Again, really proud to recognize all of these finalists for the Environmental Justice Award. And pleased to tell you that the winner of the 2020 Environmental Justice Carby Award is Ugbaad Kosar.
Woohoo!
I believe who's here to say a quick hello.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I just want to quickly say thank you. This is really cool. I appreciate that environmental justice is included in the AirMiners platform altogether. Because it really is a foundational piece of this deployment puzzle that we're all just trying to figure out. So thank you, everyone, and I hope we can continue to connect and work together in the new year. And thank you, Tito and Jason, for putting together this really great award ceremony. Really enjoying it.
Oh, God. Woo!
Congratulations. And again, congratulations to all the nominees. This is it's a real pleasure to be here to be able to celebrate and recognize everything incredible that's happening in this community. Next up, we have our fourth Carby Award for 2020 is the Moderator Award. And this one, this award is special to me because as much as, the AirMiners community and the carbon removal community is filled with people that have spreadsheets and plans and ideas, I think there's really an important role for highlighting the people that help to actually bring those discussions together. And so that's what the nature of the Moderator Award is for. This award goes to the person who most successfully moderated an AirMiners event or session in 2020. And again, this is for AirMiners events, as well as we had open sessions during the AirMiners conference. And our 3 finalists, I'm pleased to introduce. The first is Aldís Elfarsdóttir, a podcaster and author. And Aldís is nominated for moderating the nuclear energy event, having a very professional approach to the research, interviewing every single panelist before the event. We're also pleased to nominate Alexsandra Guerra, co-founder of and director of corporate development at Nori. And Alexsandra moderated the Shopify panel event, where she really did a great job of promoting the panelists for their work, but also engaging them in conversation about what they were doing and asking some hard questions. She was also a member of panels at AirMiners and the carbon removal community more broadly, including the AirMiners May 2020 conference. And then our next nominee is Heidi Lim. Heidi is a pre-AirMiner and she organized and moderated the Environmental Justice Award, Environmental Justice event that we were just talking about in the previous award, where Ugbaad and Holly Jean Buck were panelists. And Heidi worked really hard to craft a conversation that was accessible and balanced, with great questions, great follow-ups. And she was also a leader and moderator in the May 2020 conference that kicked things off. So that is our Moderator Award nominee list. And I'm really pleased to highlight our award winner is Heidi Lim for the Carby Moderator Award for 2020. And
Hey, Heidi.
Heidi is here. I believe she's on mute. She's doing something else. So let's make sure to give her an extra cheer.
Heidi.
Yeah. Heidi. Heidi. Heidi.
Heidi.
Congratulations, Heidi Lim, our Carby Moderator Award winner for 2020. Next up, we have an award that really highlights the role of volunteers in the carbon removal industry and the AirMiners community, people that lifted up others just for the good of doing it without any expectation of return. That's a really important function for the stage that this industry is at. And so that's the nature of the Momentum Award, is to highlight those people. So the 3 finalists are all have been incredible volunteers in the carbon removal community and the AirMiners community. Our first nominee is Ardilla Deneys. She is the CEO of Paloma, and she is recognized here because it's a funny nomination, but it's that her nomination was because when she originally heard about the AirMiners May 2020 conference, she said, "Of course, I'm in." She signed up, she got the calendar event, she joined the Zoom meeting, and it was the Zoom meeting, it was the first volunteers Zoom meeting for creating the conference. So she wasn't at the conference, she was actually at the volunteers meeting. She stuck with it, and she became an actual volunteer and really helped to lead the AirMiners first event. And she's continued to be a real force of positive, opportunistic, jubilant energy in everywhere she goes. Our next nominee is Colter Miller. Colter is the data team lead at 500 Startups, and he is nearly always the first person to volunteer for AirMiners events. He figures out how to get things done, including the slides for this presentation here. And he brings a real mindset of playful challenge to everything that he does. Our next nominee for the Momentum Award is Matthew Eshed. Matthew is the founder and owner of Climate Tech Advisors, and he's the Climate Tech Whisperer. Anyone who knows Matthew knows he's a pure soul who really supports new ideas. He supports open communication, and what he brings is a unique set of positive wackiness to AirMiners that I'm sure you have all felt. Really pleased to be highlighting these 3 finalists for the Momentum Award. And the winner of the 2020 Momentum Award is, well, turns out we have a dual award. There was a tie, and we have Colter, Miller, and Matthew Eshed are our award winners for 2020.
Yay!
Yay!
And here they are to say hello.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being nominated for this award, let alone being a finalist or sharing the winnings with the great Matthew Eshed. It's really an honor to be elevated to this level by all of you. I'm so thankful to be a part of this community and everything that we're working on.
Hey, nice coat, Colter. Yeah, this is awesome. This is so awesome. You know, the momentum is for all of us. You know, this is really this community is made up of all of you. You know, there's without you, without us, we would all just be alone, and that makes all the difference. And it's been a really awesome ride from the planter right here to the bracelet, which I'm really excited about, to the hats, to the people, to the awesome events. It's so impressive, and let's keep up the good work. You know, we're a shining star in a sea of darkness. So let's just keep up the good work, and we'll change the world.
Love it. Congratulations to both of you. And congratulations to Ardilla as well as our finalists for this award.
Thank you all.
Next up, we have our Connector Award. And this award really goes to somebody who's just navigating the network of people working on carbon removal. That can mean they're navigating it to accelerate their own project, or they're navigating to help others connect. And so we've seen so many people in the AirMiners community come in, be able to get connected, be able to get booted up. And it's because of connectors like these. So we have 3 finalists for the 2020 Connector Award. We have, the first is Gregory Landua, the Chief Regeneration Officer at Regen Network. And through their business and through podcasting and through personal connection, Greg really acts as a megaphone for the drawdown community. So really helping people get connected by amplifying their messages. Our next nominee is Jack Sullivan, the chairman and co-founder of Red Carbon. And as you heard before, Jack's boundless energy for building the carbon removal space and his work to foster community has made a big impression on the AirMiners community and the carbon removal community more broadly. And our next nominee for the Connector Award is Marcius Extavour, Dr. Marcius Extavour, the lead of the Climate, Energy, and Environment Group at the X Prize. Anyone who knows Marcius knows he's a kind, devoted, intelligent, persistent leader who is an advocate and facilitator for so many people in the carbon removal space. Really pleased to highlight these 3 nominees as finalists for the Carbon Removal Carby Awards of 2020, and really pleased to bring up Dr. Marcius Extavour as the winner of the 2020 Connector Award for the Carbys. Congratulations, Marcius.
Yeah, Marcius.
Yay. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much. Listen, I really appreciate this award. I'm touched. I'm humbled. I love that you guys are doing this, AirMiners. So congrats on all you've achieved at AirMiners. Congrats to the whole community. It's a pleasure to have people to connect to and with. And finally, I just want to give some props to my colleagues who make it all possible. Nikki Batchelor, Mike Leach, James Burbridge. They deserve a piece of this too. Thanks so much.
You. Thanks, guys.
Yay.
Congratulations again, Marcius, and to all of our finalists for this really important award. Next up, we have a special award. You know, when we started to think about creating the Carbys, we wanted to introduce, you know, what was these really key elements to entrepreneurship, to innovation, to creativity. And that's where we came up with this award. It's called the Resilience Award. And this award was designed for someone to recognize someone who faced significant challenges, headwinds, resistance in their pursuits. Someone who, when confronted, they went to others for help. When confronted, they shared their journey along the way. One of the things that we highlighted in the request for nominations for this was that it's not a requirement to overcome these challenges, but simply that you kind of stand your ground and adapt. So something special happened here where the judges reviewed the nominations that came in, and they found that one person really stood out just in terms of the nominations, in terms of the number of nominations, and the judges decided to award this Resilience Award to one person outright. And so I'm pleased to recognize and award the winner of the 2020 Resilience Award is Diego Saez-Gil. Congratulations, Diego. Diego embodies the calm perseverance and focused devotion of the issues in the day-to-day. And if you saw his Medium post about the loss of his house, and just really finding and identifying hope in that chaos, it was a real symbol of leadership, humility, and commitment. And we really wanted to recognize Diego for the Resilience Award this year. So congratulations to Diego.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diego, for all that you do. And again, let these awards be a signal to the next time that you see a challenge, something that you're faced with. Please, see it head on and be resilient. I don't think we have Diego in the audience, but we'll show him this recording afterwards and share all of your clapping. So congratulations again to Diego. Our next award is another award that is near and dear to our hearts. This is the Audacity Award. And we wanted to create this award as going to a person who really went for it. They really invested their time, their money, their patience, their emotion, their tears in themselves or someone else. Audacity can be doing something yourself or doing something in service of others. So our three nominees for the Audacity Award this year, Alex Capellian, a partner and senior director at IndieBio. Alex is recognized for taking a leap on supporting the carbon removal company Carbys in IndieBio's portfolio. That was a real stretch because IndieBio, as you might know, guessing from the bio part of their name, is focused on biotech companies. And so really went for it in engaging Quincy and the team from Carbys as part of IndieBio's portfolio. Our next nominee for the Audacity Award is Christina Beckmann. Christina is the founder of Tomorrow's Air, and she launched and doubled down on Tomorrow's Air, which is working to help the travel industry take climate action and, most importantly, carbon action by removing carbon from the air. She launched Tomorrow's Air during the pandemic and worked really hard to inform and educate the travel industry about carbon removal at a time when the travel industry was, as you can imagine, really shook up from the outbreak of COVID-19 and the continuing pandemic. Our next nominee for this incredible award, the Audacity Award, is Elliot Roth. Elliot is the founder of Spira, a company that's working to pull carbon from the air using biotechnology. Now, Elliot made this incredible commitment of time and resource to travel to the high seas Mars simulation in Hawaii. So on the Big Island of Hawaii, there is a simulation facility that's made to be just like living on Mars. And Elliot committed his time and money to make it to this facility where he performed experiments with cyanobacteria to regulate the carbon dioxide within this environment. So within the high seas kind of campus or the dome that they live in, he was able to regulate and work with the carbon dioxide levels using these cyanobacteria that he was experimenting with. So really incredible. I hope you feel inspired by this award. The Audacity world is, these people that really went for it. And so I'm really pleased to award the 2020 Audacity Carby to our winner, Christina Beckmann. Congratulations, Christina, on your win of the Audacity Award. And I believe we have Christina here to say hello.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm sort of just like blown away to be in the same like category with Alex and Elliot. This community has been an incredible source of inspiration for me. Travel collapsed and all was black, and I found AirMiners. So thank you all, and I look forward to much more with this group.
Yeah. Congratulations, Christina. Really pleased to recognize the work of so many individual innovators, dreamers, believers, followers, leaders, moderators, creators as part of these Carby awards. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit. We have 2 more awards, and these were we wanted to recognize organizations and programs that were going above and beyond to help others. This is the Market Maker Award, and so we wanted to highlight an organization or program that really took a leap to create with what we all know is a budding market for carbon removal. I wanted to highlight these organizations that took a risk on high prices, on the sheer newness and unknownness of creating this new industry. And so for the Market Maker Award, we're going to recognize the companies that are really going for it. The first nominee is the team at Microsoft. Microsoft, of course, enables digital transformation for an era of intelligent cloud and intelligent edge. In particular, Microsoft is highlighted for setting an example for large corporations and shareholders that climate action is more than possible. It's actually integral to ethical business. And this is led by Liz Wilmot on the Microsoft team. Our next nominee for the Market Maker Award is Shopify. They're kickstarting the carbon removal market, and Shopify has been a trailblazer with the Shopify Sustainability Fund. They purchased $5 million of carbon removal credits, which is a real financial commitment that really opens up and leads this industry into a new era. And that is really led by the leader of the Shopify Sustainability Fund. That's Stacy Kauk at the helm. So really pleased to recognize Shopify as a nominee for the award. Our next nominee is Stripe, and Stripe is supporting a market for carbon removal. And they were the first company to pay startups for carbon and open the carbon station on a larger scale. This was led by Nan Ransahoff and Ryan Orbach. And we also wanted to highlight, as part of this nominee, Ryan's educational blog posts and real personal presence in the carbon removal community. So for this Market Maker Award, again, we wanted to recognize taking a leap on creating a budding market for carbon removal. And our 2020 Market Maker Award goes to Stripe. Congratulations, Stripe. Market Maker Award for 2020.
Stripe.
Yeah, Ryan.
Way to lead.
Congratulations, team. I believe they are not here at the moment, but I'm sure they're going to be checking this out later. Congratulations again to all the players that have worked to make a market in carbon removal, and looking forward to all the players that will come in and help to build and grow that market. So without further ado, I have our last award. And again, this is going to an organization or a program. We really wanted to highlight an organization that went above and beyond to support other companies, other people in the carbon removal industry in a way that elevated the entire industry. As you can see, product launches successful sales, successful fundraising is certainly a highlight of the carbon removal community. And today we want to take the opportunity to really give extra voice to the other roles in the carbon removal community in terms of supporting and all the other functions that we're celebrating here with the Carbys. So our next award is the Elevation Award. Our three finalists are the NRG COSIA Carbon X Prize. They are a global $20 million competition to accelerate breakthroughs in carbon tech. And in particular, this nomination was to highlight X Prize's work on measurement and verification. This was led by Mike Leach, the technical lead on the Carbon X Prize. And their work this year really set the standard for early stage carbon tech companies to be able to measure and verify their own work. Our next nominee for the Elevation Award is Carbon 180. They're, of course, the climate-focused NGO, fundamentally rethinking carbon. And this nomination in particular highlights Jane Delacova's work with 500 women scientists and building bridges into academia. Of course, among Carbon 180's many contributions that are foundational to the carbon removal industry. And our next nominee and our final nominee for the day is Nori. Nori is a marketplace for negating your carbon footprint with carbon removal. But that's not all. You probably also know Nori's authoritative and ubiquitous podcasts in the carbon removal space. They put a spotlight on big questions. They put a spotlight on goofy jokes and weird insights, and again, having those discussions about everything that's happening in carbon dioxide removal, and that's led by Ross Kenyon. So those are our three Elevation Award nominees for 2020. Again, this is a really important function of going above and beyond to support companies and people in carbon removal to elevate this entire industry. And I'm pleased to award the 2020 Elevation Award to Carbon 180.
Woo!
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Congratulations,
this is so great.
Carbon 180.
Yes. Way to
We've
go.
got Peter here to say hello.
How's it going, everyone? I think, as most of you know, when Carbon 180 started about 5 years ago, the idea that we would have such a vibrant community like this was absolutely crazy. Like, it was this bonkers idea, right? I think the fact that we have all these amazing attendees here really proves what we've accomplished. I mean, I'm seeing entrepreneurs that I know, policy advocates, people of important industries that need to be decarbonized. But this is, of course, just the start. We're excited by all that's in front of us. It's a lot of work, but we're going to be there the entire way through. So thank you all for this award. We feel really honored.
Peter AirMiner, we were really grateful you were here to say hello. I see that in the chat. Congratulations again, Peter and the Carbon 180 team, and to all of our finalists for this award, the Elevation Award. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. We're really happy to celebrate the Carbys with you. We've been able to recognize and celebrate these incredible finalists, these incredible winners, looking across such a wide range of contributions and creations. Again, if your takeaway is, hey, I'm doing my New Year's resolutions here, I think a good place to start is the Carbys, to think about what are the things that you want to see and create more of, and create 100 times more of. Thank you, everyone. If you have any feedback, you can always email conference@airminers.org. And on the next slide, I wanted to celebrate all the people that played a role in creating the carbon removal, the first carbon removal award ceremony this year, the Carbys. In particular, I wanted to highlight our diverse group of judges, our organizers, our designers, our event director, Jason, our judges, John, Grant, Aaron, Kelly, Colter, Christina, Ardilla, Jen, and Matthew, our producers, Eric Slatkin and Matthew Eshed, designers, Anika Huda, Milos, and event director, Jason, and the whole team that pulled the event together, including Colter, Matthew, and Grant. Thank you so much. Again, thank you for everyone that submitted nominees. We created small judging groups of people that weren't nominated. As you can imagine, a lot of the people that we work closely with were nominated. So we created groups and we're able to pull off this incredible first year of the Carby Awards. So let's give it a final applause for everybody. Turn on your mics and unmute, and let's celebrate these 2020 Carby Award winners.
Congratulations!
Thank
you.
Awesome.
Thank
you for the work you do.
Next up, you've been clapping you're clapping while to the sound of my voice, but now you can. We're going to have a networking session. I'm going to hand it off to Jason Grillo, event director, to tell you more about that. And again, just totally inspired every step of the way. Thank you all for everything that you all do.
All right, and thank you, Tito, for all that you do. Seriously, none of this would have been in existence if it weren't for your vision and guidance. So thank you for all that. And of course, thank you to all the volunteers, the judges, to the nominees, finalists, and congratulations to our award winners as well. So with that, we're going to kick off a networking session very shortly that will include us going into breakout groups as we normally do in order to get together, not just know of each other. Our event series will start next year with a topic that we will announce to the community. I am going to share a survey so you can share your feedback with us. We're always interested in learning what went well and what we can improve on. Meantime, have a safe and happy holiday season. And we will all convene in the future. Meantime, feel free to unmute yourselves and we will start networking soon. We're going to stop the recording and that will be the end of the show. Thank you, everyone.